Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Nastasia, and today I'm talking all things Christmas. We have a little boy now who is, almost 5 months-ish. And so he's definitely not aware of anything Christmas yet or anything, but it got us thinking about, and me thinking about what we want to do Christmas-wise when it comes to him and our other future children growing up and different things. And I thought this could be an interesting topic because I know different Christians do things differently, and maybe you'd find it fascinating. Anyway, before we get into it, if you end up liking this video, if you would give it a like, that would mean so much to me. And don't forget to subscribe for more content from me. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive video content over there, as well as a couple other things. I love my community over there. Thank you so much if you're a patron of mine. So that link will be down below if you'd like to check out my Patreon and get some more content from me. And let's get into it. I have my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's why. So starting off with a bang, because I feel like this is what everybody asks me first, is, are you going to do Santa with your kids? And we are not. I actually have a video talking more in depth about this that I will link down below that I made a little while back, talking about it before we even had a baby yet. But we will not be doing Santa. The basic rundown of why we will not is, one, we don't want to lie to our kids. I know some people don't see it as lying. We do. Also, there are so many parallels that people wrote into like the Santa Claus type story of like, you have to believe, you have to this, you have to that, and seeing is not believing, believing is seeing, and all this. And that tie into the gospel in the sense of having faith and believing when you can't see and all that, that I don't want my children to grow up and think, you lied to us about Santa, so how can I have faith in this too? Like, also there comes this sense of, without realizing it, embarrassment and shame, even if you don't put that on your children, of if they believed in something for so long and then you tell them it wasn't real, there's a good chance they'll actually feel embarrassed and feel stupid for believing it and feel this and this. And that might translate into not wanting to believe in the Lord, and not wanting to believe in Jesus because they're afraid to feel stupid if they're wrong and all this. So we're not doing that. But what we are doing is we are still going to teach our children that, like, I mean, we're not going to put them in a bubble, right? Like, they're going to see Santa stuff in different places and the Santa at the mall and all of that. And so we're going to just explain to them that he's kind of like a storybook character, and like your other things in your storybooks, like, it's not real, it's just like a play fun thing. But there are movies about him and stuff like that, and teach him that, or tell them that, but also teach them about the very real person that Saint Nicholas was, and that this character was based loosely on a real person named Saint Nicholas, and just explain to them that way. We don't want to raise kids who go around telling all the other kids, it is not real, but also we don't want to raise our kids to lie either. So basically, I don't really know how we're going to handle that, but we're definitely not going to ask our children to lie and tell other kids that Santa's real. But we're also not going to encourage them to, I don't know, pop other kids' bubbles if their parents do tell them that he's real. I don't know how we're gonna handle that yet, but that's the Santa thing. So next question I usually get the most often is if we will be doing some of the typical Christmas things, like Christmas trees and decorating and ornaments and all of that. And I know some Christians have an issue with Christmas trees, which I totally respect. We don't. I've done extensive research into all of it, and we have decided that we are okay with that in our home, at least now. Maybe in the future we'll change our minds, but we're okay with it. So we will probably have a Christmas tree and stuff like that all the years, and decorate it. But something we do want to do that I think is fun, we started doing it loosely last year, before our son was born. I was very in the thick of the first trimester pregnancy sickness. So Christmas wasn't very fun for me last year, but we wanted to start a tradition of having ornaments that kind of represents different stories of the Bible, so that as we're hanging up the ornaments with our children, we can talk about the Word of God and what each ornament represents. An example of this would be like having a little wave ornament or an ocean ornament to represent like the story of the Red Sea and how God split the Red Sea to lead his people out of Egypt and all this stuff. So we want to do that. We think it'd be really fun. I don't know how or if we could do every story of the Bible, but that would be cool. I mean, I don't know. Some people love having ornaments that are like, I made this when I was 3, and this is supposed to be a scribble of a star on a this, on a that. And I'm like, what does that even look like? And they find those ornaments very precious, which is great. I think that's great. And I'm sure when our son makes us an ornament one day or something, I will be obsessed with it. But I just personally have never super loved Christmas trees that have a lot of very homemade ornaments on them. I know that sounds really shallow. I don't mean it to, but like, I like things with a lot more symbolism and meaning, and I think it'd be a fun tradition. So that's something we are going to do. And I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun, honestly. And we will probably do the typical, like, getting our house ready. Also, leave down below, if you do Christmas trees, do you like the colorful lights on your tree, or do you like the classic, just like white, yellow lights? I am a classic girl. I love the white, yellow lights. That is my thing. Sorry if the lighting's a little weird, by the way, the sun's doing something. But that's my thing. I don't love the colorful lights as much, maybe for like a kid's tree or something, but I love the classic one. So we'll still probably make our house look all nice and full of lights. That's our favorite thing, is just the lights, really, for decoration. And yeah, I just think it's a good time to make your house just beautiful and cozy. So next thing, this is kind of, again, all things Christmas, but if you have seen any of my other videos talking about this, we have really tried to limit our screen time this year, especially leading up to baby time and all that, because we realized, Kai and I, we were watching so much TV every single day, like 3 to 4 hours every day, sometimes more, and that was every single day, like consistently. And we didn't like who we were becoming by doing that. And so we didn't want to set a bad example for our children as they grow up, when we're like, no TV for you. And they're like, well, then why are you watching it 6 hours a day? You know what I mean? So, and just for us in general, we were like, we feel gross. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So we do watch TV way less. The only exception really during the week is Kai will watch football on the weekends, and oh gosh, okay, hold on, I might have to do something about this lighting. Give me a second. Okay, I know it's a little darker, but I think that's better, so it's not like weird lighting. So Kai will watch football on the weekends, and I usually watch it with him to spend time with him and stuff, so that is kind of a lot. But other than that, we really don't watch TV much during the week. However, Christmas time, I do love watching Christmas movies, getting all cozy, being like, do you want to watch a Christmas movie tonight? And having cocoa and cookies and stuff like that. I have so many good memories of that growing up, and like, I just think that's a fun thing. So it's to be expected that around Christmas time for our family, we will probably have more screen time than any other time during the year. Probably have to do a screen time detox every year after Christmas, but I just think it'd be fun. And also we, like, our favorite Christmas movie, for instance, is The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Kai and I quote it. When I say on a daily basis, I literally mean on a daily basis all year round. And so we like that, and it'll be fun to see what our children's like favorite Christmas movie might be and stuff like that. But also we still want to make sure it's wholesome, that it aligns with our values, that we're not just feeding them anything just because it's Christmas. Like, there's some crazy stuff out there nowadays that does not align with what we believe. And so we will still make sure that it has a lot of those, wholesome qualities and is clean for our kids. But like the Santa Claus movies, even though we aren't going to teach our child to believe in Santa Claus, again, it's like a fun storybook character. So in that way, we will, unless it poses some kind of issue, I don't know if it will or not. Also, you can probably see all my postpartum baby hairs growing back. But if it seems to pose some kind of issue of like our child being confused, then of like, why are we watching this if we don't believe in Santa and stuff like that, then we'll deal with that. But for the most part, I think Christmas movies are fun. Okay, yes to all the homemade Christmas cookies and treats and those things. I think sometimes people assume because, oh, sorry, moving the camera. I think sometimes people assume since we try to live a more nutritionally dense life, for the most part, and we try to eat organic when we can and all that, that we're just never going to let our child have sugar or anything like that. And we're gonna have that weird kid that doesn't know what a cupcake is. And that's just not the case. I think what people don't realize, at least for how we want to raise our children, is that we want to teach them that you can have these treats and these cookies and different things when you make them with really good ingredients. And even the crappy ingredients, like there's everything in moderation, right? But like you feel better when you have treats that are made with good ingredients versus not good ingredients. And so we'll still use like the coconut sugar and real butter and real milk and different things to make fun treats. And also, I'm not going to let them just like survive off of sugar. Like, you're not going to have 17 cinnamon rolls. But like, I think we do ourselves a disservice with our children sometimes if we just cut them off from everything fun in the name of health. It's like, how can you take this and make it into something that is still good for your child in moderation and is still so much fun? So we will still be doing all the homemade Christmas cookies, and if I have to alter certain recipes that, use fake stuff or preservative stuff, like I'll use more homemade options instead, or organic options and stuff like that. So I love doing that stuff. I have a snickerdoodle recipe from my mom that is just the best snickerdoodles I've ever had. I have several people who have said that, and so I of course want to be able to introduce that to my kids. But I mean, on another note, I'm still like, our baby, he's gonna start probably eating some foods here in the next month or two, like just starting on foods. And I'm not gonna start him on like cookies. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna do that, especially because I feel like a lot of the first foods that children have when they're babies, they end up leaning towards more as they grow up and they have a palate for those things. So I don't want to just be sugar. So I'm not saying he'll never have those cookies by any means, but maybe not the first foods he ever has. He'll probably have some more like avocado-y type things and, stuff that's good for him. Okay, next thing, talking about gifts, because I've had people ask me about this too. So when it comes to gifts, I might be able to open this again, get some more light. Hold on. Okay, we're back. So when it comes to gifts, we want to limit them to an extent. So I also don't want to be the mom that is like, nobody can buy my kids gifts and you only get one gift and that's it and you better love it. Like, I don't know. If you want to do that, that's great. I just, I'm very appreciative. We're both very appreciative of anybody who wants to gift our child with anything, right? Like, that is so, so kind and gracious. But I think that you can still have boundaries. So like this year, it doesn't matter as much. He's only like going to be like 5-ish, 6 months by the time of Christmas. And so it's not as big of a deal. He isn't even aware of what's going on. So it's not like he can really, because my point of all this is that when kids, I've noticed, and through research and things that I've seen on a personal level, when kids have a million things, like a million toys, and get all this stuff Christmas morning and just have a million toys in general, it actually like kind of inhibits them. They're not able to stretch those imaginative muscles. They get overstimulated, when a lot of toys are in front of them at once. Like, we want to be able to do toy rotation and Montessori style kind of toy stuff, because I've just noticed that it helps kids actually learn how to play. And so I would like to do that for our children. And it kind of is harder when you get a million things. So even if that were to happen and people wouldn't follow our boundaries and give our children a million things, we would still be grateful, obviously. But I would probably store them in a closet and pull one out like every so often throughout the year, so that my baby didn't get, or my child, I guess at the time, didn't get overstimulated and all that jazz. So back to what I was saying before, our baby, he doesn't know what's going on. So it doesn't really matter how much he gets or doesn't get right now. He's not going to be overstimulated because he's like, whoa, where's the milkshakes? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really care. And so like this year, we can use all the clothes we can get for him. So we're not really putting boundaries on if anybody wants to get him 30 things of clothes. Amazing. Thank you. Like, we're not putting boundaries on it this year or anything. But when it comes to more toy stuff, we will be putting boundaries on the amount and also the type of gifts. Again, you can think that that's a very privileged thing to say. And, in a way, I guess it is a privilege. Like, we are so grateful that people even want to give us anything. But also, I don't think that means you just don't get to have a say in what your child receives. So, our children, I don't want them to receive any kind of electronics for quite a few years. I don't want them to, obviously receive anything that's like ratchet when it comes to like not aligning with what we believe. Just different things like that. Anyway, the bigger thing is more the amount. So this year, like, Kai and I are just going to get Eros one thing. And moving forward in the future years, we will probably limit it to, like, grandparents and stuff only getting him a few things or a couple of things, and any other distant people only getting him one thing if they even want to get him anything. And then for us, as our kids get older and they know that, like, they're more aware of gifts, we will get them maybe 3 things or 4 things each, maybe, so and that doesn't include stockings. I love stockings, so I would want to fill up a stocking, but I consider that more like tiny things. I mean, like gifts that are more wrapped. So anyway, if you're curious, that's kind of our mindset on that stuff. And then the last thing I wanted to point out was, obviously above all of this is the Lord. Like, we want to highlight Jesus Christ and the story of his birth and everything during this time of year. I know that he most likely was not even born around December. People think he was born more around like June time or something, I guess. But we still want to use this opportunity to highlight his birth and focus on Advent and different things like that. I would love to do like Advent calendar things that have, fun little things with it and projects each day, like counting down to Christmas, but also highlight the story of the Lord. So that is the number one thing above everything else. We really want to hone in and focus on. I want our kids to grow up being more excited for that than anything else, if at all possible. So that's the goal ultimately with anything we do, is to point our children towards Jesus. So that's the plan. I hope this was interesting for you. Like I said, I have Patreon if you'd like to see more exclusive content, but let me know down below, how do you do Christmas? Do you do Christmas at all? Again, I fully respect Christians who do not want to partake in Christmas itself for different reasons, and that's fine. If you don't know why, it's just because there are certain aspects of Christmas that are pagan by origin, and the Christian church has kind of tried to make it more geared towards focusing on the Lord and different things, but I understand if people can't get away from those pagan origins, and I respect that. But anyway, I love you guys. Let me know down below your thoughts about what you do for the holiday season, and I will see you soon.